Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love, everyone. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy soulful Sunday. Great rising, good day. Whew. First Sunday of December, second Sunday. No, first Sunday, December 7th. Last week was the end of November, first Sunday of December. December is definitely coming in real wintry, right? Definitely cold, definitely brisk. But this is what it is here in the Northeast, here in New York City. I've been doing this for 41 years now, almost 42 years. And it's pretty much the same thing. Sometimes a little warmer, a little colder, but it's brisk and it's chilly. And as my dad would say, the hawk is out. As my father would say, the hawk is out when it was cold outside. And I was getting there, man. It was about 20 something degrees the other night. All right. Yeah, man. We are here on the Sunday light, 8 o'clock in the morning. Today's topic is we're going to discuss how your life is a manifestation of your thoughts. How your life is a manifestation of your thoughts. How everything in your current reality is a manifestation of your thoughts, right? We're going to get into that. We're going to get into, just mindfulness, right? Deep, 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 heavy mindfulness and awareness and accountability, right? That's what we're going to really talk about today is how do we take accountability for our life, right? As opposed to blaming our parents, blaming the system, blaming your children, blaming your spouse, blaming your environment, blaming all of the things that we can blame for how our life is, right? Or that we do blame for how our life is, what's going on in our life, the things that we don't want, the things that we don't have. We're going to really talk about how all of it is manifested from our thoughts. Before we get into that, we are going to do a short prayer. Got some sage we're going to burn, right? Set an intention, clear the space, right? And deliver a message that can be beneficial for all of us. So on this Sunday, as we burn the sage, as we set this intention, as we clear this space, I want to pray that each of us who hears these words and those connected to us, I pray for clarity of mind. I pray for clarity of mind. I pray for the awareness to repel thoughts that are unwanted, that are undesired. I pray for the discipline to focus on and to amplify thoughts that are welcome. I pray that each of us has the courage to follow our wild imagination and to allow our imagination and to direct our imagination once it starts to wander to a place that is desirable, to a place that is wanted. I pray that we have the faith, that we have the trust to follow our wild thoughts, our crazy ideas. Excuse me. That we trust our crazy ideas and our wild thoughts. I pray that we have the people around us in our home, in our workplace, in our community, that we can trust, that we can lean on, but that who also trust us and lean on us. I pray that we have people around us who, once our mind starts to wander into places that are undesirable, that they help us get back on track. They help us remember that it all starts with a thought. It all starts with an intention. So on this Sunday, may we set an intention for a healed mind, for a healed brain, so that we can think, act, and live with more clarity, more peace, more power, more possibility. May we set an intention on this Sunday that all perceived roadblocks be removed, affirming that our mind is more powerful than whatever stands in front of us. On this Sunday, I pray for peace of mind. I pray for strength of mind. I pray for clarity of mind. May we move forward with these intentions. May these prayers manifest. Okay. That is my prayer on this Sunday. Need tissue to blow my nose. Thought I had some tissue. Wipe my nose and my. Thought I had some tissue. I don't have any tissue here. My apologies, but great rising. Black Power, Black Power. Mona Love. What's going on in the check-in? ERB TV, I miss you and I love you. Doing a great job, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, my brother. Ah, man. Let's build. Let's build. Let's build, King. Let's build. Tap in. I need some. Hey, Obey. Come on up. Can you give me tissue, please? Give me a second. Let me wipe my nose, guys. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the power of our thoughts and the power of our intentions. And we're going to talk about how we can shift our life, right? We are the captains of this ship. We are, right? We are the captains. Yes, it is. Thank you. Oh, man, that's a lot. Thank you. Pardon me. Wipe this nose, wipe this sneeze on my sweater. Wipe that off, right? And get into it. So yes, we are the captains of our ship, right? First and foremost, yes, if you're on the boat, right, you are sailing, there are winds, right? There are winds that are beyond your control, right? The tide, right? Although you can, kind of, predict, right? To a certain extent, right? They're always on that water. There's always things that are unseen that you can't predict. That, right? No matter how much you plan and prepare, things happen. All right. So yes, on the boat, there are winds that are beyond your control. The water, you don't have full control over. However, what you do have control over is how you sail, right? You do have control over how you prepare, how you plan, right? And so relating that to real physical life, right? Your real physical life, the life that you are currently living. Yes, there are things in the environment that you personally have minimal control over. There are things in government that you personally have minimal control over, things in your neighborhood that you personally have minimal control over. However, you have control over how you respond, right? I never forget years ago, I say it multiple times, right? I've said it multiple times, and I will always say it. Working with Life Camp, Erica Ford, which is now the Peace is a Lifestyle movement. Back then it was Life Camp, Bury the Beef, right? I love my life, Bury the Beef, right? And we were doing a concert, a youth concert, I believe, at Boys and Girls High School in Brooklyn. And one of the brothers who performed, he said something so profound, right? And again, it was said before, but the way he put it in music, it was just so profound. I think it was part of his intro or part of his hook. He was like, in life, it's not what happens to you, it's how you deal with what happens to you. And that hit like a ton of bricks, right? It hit so hard because at that point in my life, right, things weren't quote unquote ideal, right? It was a lot of challenges, financial challenges, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And I was, to some degree, right? This is 2009, I believe 2009, 2010. So I was just shifting. I was really just shifting my mind. I was just out of prison. for 2.5 years, not even 3 years. I don't think it might have been like winter 2009, right, going into 2010. So not even 3 years home from prison. Just a year and some change since changing my life, and I'm figuring things out. I'm still like a lot of questions, still some self doubt, right? But I knew that I needed my life to go in a different direction. I knew that I did not want to keep going the way I was going. I knew that I would be dead or in prison for a very long time. So like we made this life, we left the streets. We're gonna do something different. Um, and of course, if you know me, if you knew me then, or if you heard the story, like it was video production, and it was like once video production, I bought a camera and I started just filming everything and everybody. It was like, wait, I got a voice and I can use this video content, right? I can use this camera to amplify my voice and talk about the issues I care about, the murders in our community, right? The drugs in our community, right? The freaking illness plaguing our community, cancer and diabetes and all of this stuff. And I was like, but I was still like, yo, like the system, my mother, right, my father, right. I was still like, all of this is way before being a parent, right? So they didn't blame no children, didn't blame no woman or anything like that. It was family. It was family. It was government. It was environment. It was education, right? The school system. I was blaming. How to blame, right? Like your fault. You shouldn't have did that. And when I heard the brother say that, and life is not what happens to you, it's how you respond with what happens to you, it hit me because I was like, wow, okay, these things happen. My mom was how my mom was. My dad transitioned when I was young, right? The school system, right, didn't have outlets for me, right? Or my community center, right? My neighborhood didn't really have outlets for me to pursue, that was easily accessible for me, acting and script writing and film production and things like that, right? I'm like, damn, okay, these things happen. How am I going to respond, right? So far, up to that point, for the most part, I responded with anger. I responded with bitterness. I responded with alcohol and sex, and I responded with blame and addiction for the most part, right? Addicted to the streets, addicted to the lifestyle, addicted to women. I was just responding with that. That's how I was responding to the things that had happened in my life. But that's saying it's not what happened to you; it's how you deal with what happened to you. It was a shift. It was a change because okay, we're gonna take accountability. Okay, damn, I made those decisions. I had those thoughts. I had those feelings. I followed, right? I followed that way, right? Whatever that way was, the rebellion way, whatever it was, but it was me following something inside of me that was hurt, right? I followed that hurt to a hurt place that allowed me to not only hurt myself, but to cause harm in the lives of so many other people, family, friends, and all in between, right? And so fast forward, right? Life is completely different now, right? Very sure of myself, right? Some of those struggles that existed then don't exist now. Some stuff I'm still working through, right? And it's okay, all right? I know now what I'm saying is that my life is a manifestation of my thoughts. Now, this is where it gets real, like we got to be real intentional because every thought that comes into our mind is not ours, right? Every single thought that pops into our head, that comes into our mind, is not our thought. We operate on frequency, so sometimes we pick up on the frequency, we pick up on the vibration, we pick up on the thoughts of somebody else, of somebody in the space that we enter, that we're in, right? A family member, a friend, a lover. If you're engaging in intercourse, right, with somebody who's engaging in intercourse with somebody else or other people, you could be picking up on those people's thoughts, right? So like you, man or woman, sleeping with somebody, and that person sleeping with somebody, and that person sleeping with somebody, you could be getting thoughts from a fifth source who you know nothing about, right? Right? That's how it works. You can also pick up thoughts from your ancestors, right? Epigenetics is in your DNA. You're picking up thoughts. You don't even know why you have these thoughts. It's just coming to you like, well, what the is this thought? Like, where is this thought coming from? Right? You ever heard somebody say, yo, you're not in your right mind? Yo, this person's not in their right mind. Because sometimes people aren't. They're not in control of their thoughts. So now this is where, again, like, so yes, every thought is that comes into your mind is not yours. However, every thought that you allow to stay becomes yours. Every thought that you're not aware of that ends up seeping into your subconscious, right? Because you're not aware of it because you are absent-minded. So many of us are moving around, living life absent-minded, all right? Focused on other people's lives, focused on latest trends and freaking in music and fashion and all of the stuff that's outside of your personal life. Now, clearly, if that's your personal life, if that's your gig, if that's your career, then you may need to be. However, still, there has to be some structure, right? Like, yes, you need to know you're in media, you're in fashion, you're in tech, you're in whatever field it is, and you need to be aware and you need to stay abreast on what's new, what's going on, what's coming, right? Developing trends. You need to be aware of that. Cool. However, you got to have a point where you can turn that off and focus, right, on your thoughts and be in control of your thoughts, right? So yes, there's sometimes when you are, you're an educator and you're dealing with, children and parents and other teachers and all of these things and all of the people's thoughts, but you gotta have practices that you're able to silence the noise. And okay, these thoughts are not my thoughts. Push them out, right? Pushing the thoughts out of others don't mean you don't love them. It just means you need to focus on your thoughts. You need to be in control of your mind, right? And sometimes, yes, it's okay to think about somebody else, of course, right? Think about, how your student is doing. Think about how your child is doing in school or how your child is doing in their relationship. Think about, your parents' illness, right? Or your parents' new relationship, right? Or whatever it is. Think about the young boy or young girl in your neighborhood who they're having a tough time at home. Think about them, and sometimes you allow their thoughts, right? Like empathy, right? You take on that energy, but you got to be aware and use discernment to know when it's dominating your mind and when you are losing your mind and you are no longer in control of how you're thinking about their thoughts and how you're thinking about their life, right? Are you thinking about it in a way where you're sending positive energy? Are you thinking about it in a way where you're helping to, again, even just mentally alleviate some of the struggle, where you're sending guidance and you're sending support, right? And you're doing like some form of Reiki where you're sending healing energy. If you're not doing that, if it's just you're thinking about it and it's sorrow and it's all that stuff, then you're not helping you nor them, right? So yes, other people's thoughts come into your mind, control, discernment, right? But I want to go back to awareness, the awareness piece, all right? Because every thought is not yours. So you can say, well, I didn't think, right? I'm struggling in my housing or my relationship, or my husband just left me, or my wife cheated on me, or whatever the case may be, right? You're like, well, I didn't think about that, so that's no. This life is not a manifestation of my thoughts. You still blame, right? That person should not have done that. Understood? People do things that you have zero control over. But are you having thoughts of unworthiness? Are you having thoughts of being taken advantage of? Are you having thoughts where you're feeling you're not thinking highly of yourself? And this is where we got to be honest with ourselves. Like, not specific where we thought, oh, this thing. Now, sometimes that actually happens, right? Like, I think, like, probably my own personal story related to like some of the stuff that's going on right now is very indicative of this. However, I think the most profound was the situation. I was outside in Queensbridge, 2011, some point 2011 in Queensbridge, and brother I know, walking down the block, headphones on, and he's rapping. He's rapping. I don't know if it was his song or somebody else's song, but he said something, something, something. And as he got closer, right, I didn't hear what he was saying the whole time, but as he was moving closer, what I heard clearly was, "I shoot you in the face, da 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 da." Right, I shoot you in the face. 2011, maybe like fall. It was nice outside, right? Fall. I mean, it could have been winter. People outside all the time in the hood, right? Anyway, 2012. Never forget. 4th of July, 2012. Block party, Queensbridge, my block, Vernon, 41st side. Right, we do the barbecue, annual barbecue every year. Right, my family, friends, my in-law, my bro Rallo, and all of us, we chip in. We do a barbecue. We feed the block, and people come from other blocks, and it's music, and it's lit. Right, this is my first magazine cover. Right, I was on the cover of Around Town magazine. My niece is up from Maryland. My sister's up. It's lit. A fight breaks out. The guy who was rapping, right? Fight breaks out. He gets into a fight with the guy from another hood. Guy from another hood comes to Queensbridge, has a gun for whatever reason, right? Wasn't gonna do nothing good with it, but had a gun. Started trouble with this guy, brother from Queensbridge, who was previously rapping. They get into a fight. The people yell, "He got a gun! He got a gun!" They're fighting. They're tussling over the gate. You see them, you see the guy, right? Like you see his arms, he's trying to like get to wherever his, his belt, his gun. You see the other brother from Queensbridge, right? Like also, like you see them, and then you hear the two shots, boom, boom, and then you see the brother from Queensbridge jump back, jump over the gate, and run. And the other brother stuck on the gate, and you look, and he was shot in his face, shot him in his head, and shot him in his face, and he was dead. When I think I sat outside, I end up right. Another brother had helped him off the gate. Everybody had backed up. People had called the cops and all of that stuff. And we were right there. Like, if you know, Queensbridge is on 41st and Vernon's playground, right? It's a bench, and then it's a gate, and then right on the other side of the gate, right? The bench, like he was right behind us. It happened right there. I sat there. Like the cops had to like, yo, like you gotta move. Like this is now. I don't think he was a homicide at the time. I think he was still like breathing. They was like, it's a crime scene. Like, please move. I was like, yo, like I was stuck because at this time I'm real committed. My life is different. Focused on activism. Again, I had the magazine cover. It's activism. It's peace activism. It's building my community. It's all of this stuff, right? And I was devastated. One, that a young man was killed, right? Like we knew he was dying, right? I was devastated. A young man is killed. It happened during a celebration. It happened during a block party, right? We're celebrating. It's 4th of July. It's Queensbridge. Like, this is a beautiful time to be alive. Beautiful time to be outside. I got the magazine cover. My niece was right there, right? Siblings right there. Mom is right there. Nephew's right there, right? And I was devastated because I remember, right, the brother rapping those lyrics, and literally, like, he didn't start the beef, he didn't go looking for it, right? But he rapped those lyrics, and a few months later, less than a year later, he actually shot somebody in the face, right? And so, like, when I, move forward, when I look back, and every time I think about manifestation and how our thoughts and our words create our reality, that's a freaking unfortunate yet perfect example of this. Right? Like what you think and what you say, it comes true. It manifests in your life one way or another. So what are you thinking? Right? What's your mind like? Right? What's going on in your head? What words are you speaking? Right? You hear it all the time. Our Christian brothers and sisters say it, like life and death is held in the power of the tongue. Life and death is held in the power of the tongue. Listen, let me a more personal example, right? I used to. So there was a point when I got goosebumps as I'm about to say this. There was a point when in the late 90s, well, one in the after my dad passed, I didn't want to live for a while, right, for a long time. But there was a point where specifically I would kind of say, yo, I want to get shot. I want to get shot. I used to say it to the point where there were times I've dreamt about being shot. I dreamt about being shot in front of my building. I dreamt about being shot in front of my building by somebody in all black who I knew. I dreamt that shit multiple times. Multiple times. And it was like, as long as I don't get killed, I'll be good. Right? Now, mind you, I've wanted to die at one point, right? But at this point, when I'm thinking specifically about being shot in front of my building, it was like, all right, as long as I don't get killed, I'm good. And I'm back outside and like I got more clout. Fast forward, June 2nd, 2003. What happened? I get shot in front of my building by somebody in all black who I knew. There's so many examples of this, right? Where direct, specific thoughts manifest specifically as you think about them. They manifest. Maybe not always 100% to the T, but how you think, like what you think about, comes true in your life. What we think about and what we focus on, the thoughts that we repeat, manifest in our life. We attract this thing to us. We attract this lifestyle. We attract this energy to our lives that has no choice but to manifest. When it's written, when it was written that we are made in the image of God, it does not mean that what is divine source energy looks like, physically looks like you or me. No, it's not. It's not that. That's not what it is. What it means is that God is all powerful, right? We are miniature. We are all powerful. We are powerful, right? We create our reality. God creates. As God thinketh, so it is. As we thinketh, so it is. As a man thinketh, James Allen, come on. As you think, so you are. The thoughts that dominate your mind are what ultimately manifest in your life. Getting so many more examples. Personally, I have real personal examples of this in my own life, right? When I was getting married, I told my brother-in-law, probably, I mean, some of you guys know the story, right? Probably a week before marriage, maybe 2 weeks. Told my brother-in-law, I said, I don't know, man. Because I just met her, and so like some people close to me, right? My family, they were happy for me, right? They were hopeful for me, but they're like, you just met this woman, right? Like you don't even know too much about her, all right? I'm like, nah, but I'm going with spirit, right? Like it wasn't like, I tell people all the time, it wasn't like, you know, I was head over heels because of sex or I was blinded. It was like, nah, like spirit is calling me, right? Like this is some place I need to go. I need to follow this thought. I need to follow this intuition, right? Similar goals, right? Similar ways, so to speak, right? To some degree. And so I'm gonna follow it. And I followed it. But prior, right, we getting married, the date is set, right? Friends are invited, right? With the final touches, again, a week or two. Told my brother, I said, yo, I don't know, man. This thing might not last. How about this? Even before that, my brother got married in 2001. When my brother got married in 2001, it was probably what I like to say one of the greatest at that point in my life, right? And still, when I look back, it was one of the greatest public displays of love I've seen, right? Beautiful wedding. But what did it for me was as my sister-in-law was coming down the aisle, my brother was standing there. He was crying. He was crying. And he went, she was taking too long. He went and got his wife and carried her. Right. And the love that was expressed, I was like, yo, that's beautiful. And I said, right, not immediately, but maybe a few years later, I said, I want to get married, even if I get divorced shortly after. I just want to have a wedding. I said that. I said I want to get married. Even if I get divorced shortly later, I just want to have a wedding. I said that. And now fast forward, I told my brother-in-law, this thing might not last. I think I might be connected to her just to be in her children's life, right? She had 2 children prior to me. Just to be in her children's life, there's something there, right? There's something there, and this is before we created our child Usha, who is 100% divine, right? But I said that, and we got married 2015. We had a daughter 2016, and we split in 2017. Got married, separated shortly after. I said that. I spoke that. You want to go deeper? As we were, I think, as she was pregnant, and as Usha was born, and as we spoke about the life that we, wanted to create for our children, we had spoke about. I had spoke about the mission that I was on, right, and the life that I was creating, the life that I was cultivating for myself, for my family, for my community, right, and I had said that we had said, I said, and we agreed that there will be a time, right? Not there may be, but there will be a time in our relationship and our parenthood where I may have to be on a mission, right? I may have to be on a mission that will take me away from my children for 1 to 2 years. I said that. We spoke about that. I literally said those words. I'm gonna have to be on a mission. I was like somewhere, in Africa, deep somewhere, on a crazy like mission, and like I'm gonna be gone for a year or so, 2 years or so, right? And we could only communicate right through it was Skype at the time, I think, right? Like Skype. I think Zoom wasn't even a thing yet. It might have been Skype and just video chat. It was like video chat. You might got to communicate, right? Just through video chat, through letters, through phone calls every so often, every couple of weeks. I said that. We said those words. 18 months. No contact with my children. And then, all right, visits, monthly, and then, right, weekly Zoom. Right. I said that. I'm sure if you look at your life, whoever's listening to this show, I'm sure if you look into your life, if you look at your life, and if you're honest with yourself, you can see how your life currently is a manifestation of some thoughts you had. Whether recently, whether thoughts you had that you forgot about, right? Thoughts that seeped into your subconscious, right? Thoughts from other people that wasn't even your thoughts, but that you allowed to fester, right? Too often we hold on to thoughts of our parents, right? Our caretakers, right? They tell us we ain't shit. They tell us we don't deserve shit. They told us all of these things, right? The negative, all of the negative. You ain't gonna be shit, right? You stupid, right? What you think you think you better than somebody? You think the world revolves around you? And so we develop this mindset that tells us we're unworthy, right? We're unlovable, right? We're incapable, right? We develop this mindset that tells us all of those things. And then life happens in a way that keeps reinforcing our feelings of unworthiness, right? It keeps reinforcing our incapability to uphold the family, to manage a business, to manage your funds, whatever it is, right? Like, your life is a manifestation of your thoughts. Right now, your life right now is the manifestation of your thoughts. Right? Your thoughts, the thoughts of your ancestors, right? The thoughts of the people around you, right? The thoughts of your community. A lot of times, I like in The Alchemist, right? The book The Alchemist, like they spoke about the I think it was like the dream of the world, right? The world has this idea, the world has this dream, right? That is constantly being added to. For the most part, it's fear based, right? It's low vibrational, right? It's controlling, right? It's violent, right? The world has this idea, right? It's exploitative, right? It's not really good. If you don't have control over your mind, regardless of how much of an individual you think you are adhering, right, to the dream of the world, to the energy of what's going on around you, of your community, of your family, your household. You are falling into that energy, right? You are adhering to that way of being. And so again, you may not think that, oh well, you may say, well, I didn't think my life like this. I didn't think of these things. I would never think of these things. I would never think myself into this position. But if you are not in full control of your mind, right? If you are not using certain tools and practices to repel certain thoughts and to attract others, right? If that's not what you are doing, and if you're on autopilot, right? Autopilot in brain science is what we call system one thinking, is unconscious. You're unconsciously just thinking and acting and reacting and responding. If that's where you are, then regardless to when you consciously think about, well, I didn't, no, you did. You did. The music that you listen to. I listen to Tupac all the time. I listen to all of the shoot 'em up music as a youth. No, like my dad passed, right? I'm drinking, I'm hustling, I'm in the streets, right? Like I embodied. I wore the bandana with the bull head. I wore the bandana. I'm Tupac. I want to get shot. It's no wonder I got shot. Right? I listen to the music. Just ain't but it's no wonder why I treated women like, a certain way at one point in my life. What we think about, what we focus on expands. What you focus on expands. What you think about and what you focus on with intention becomes your reality. I love what Steve Harvey says. He says, women who say all men are dogs, you're going to meet every single one. You say all men are dogs, you're going to meet every single man who's a dog, if that's your mindset. Men who say women ain't shit, you're going to meet every single woman who ain't shit. That's what you're going to do. When you say, I won't be rich, I can't make it happen, I can't lose weight, you won't lose weight. I can't get healthy, you won't get healthy. My children don't listen to me, they hard-headed, they won't listen to you, they hard-headed. Be mindful of your thoughts, not just the words that you speak, right? The words, yes, words sound vibration, right? Words sound impact. Yes, words are extremely powerful, right? Vibration, universe, vibration, yes, words. But even the thoughts, frequency, just the thought alone, the thought alone. Be mindful. Your thoughts are extremely powerful. Your thoughts, like your mind is the most powerful thing in the known universe. In the seven Hermetic laws, seven Hermetic principles, the first principle, the first law is the all is mind. How your mind goes, your life goes. How your mind goes, your life goes. The way that your mind goes is the way that your life goes. The reason why there's so much negativity in the world, guess what? It's because there's so much negativity in the world. It's like, what? Yeah, exactly. So many people's minds are filled with negativity. So I was in bed with Kimona earlier, right? And I was stuck. Because it was an email from Deepak Chopra, right? Subscribe to his website. It's an email from him, right? So I'm reading the email, and then it said to read more, subscribe to my Substack. So now I go to Substack, right? And I'm reading, right? Substack. And anyway, like I don't think there's no coincidence that I had this topic in mind, right, last night. This morning before getting on here, I'm reading some Deepak stuff. And Deepak is somebody who I really would like to have a conversation with. Because like I want to build with him, right? I would love to build with him on specifically on this topic, right? Manifestation. And so what I'm saying is that a lot of the reason there is violence in our communities, right? Violence in our world, right? I like to think because we keep talking about violence. If you want peace, talk about peace. If you want more love, talk about more love, right? What you focus on and think about with intention expands, right? Becomes true, becomes real, becomes manifest, right? I've been wanting to meet Deepak. I actually met him through Erica Ford years ago at an event he spoke at, right? But didn't get to I wanna have a conversation with him. I wanna build with him, right? Because as he got involved with Erica Ford and got involved with the Life Camp and then Pieces of Lifestyle Movement, he would talk about violence, right, in the neighborhood, right, because that was the organization, that's the movement, and this is over 10 years ago, right, and I was like, whoa, Deepak fully understands that what I'm saying, he fully understands that what we think about, right, what we speak, what we focus on expands, becomes true. Now, since then, obviously, Erica Ford has, transformed the organization, the messaging, right? I haven't really been in community with her in a while, but just looking and knowing the people involved, like it's shifted from what it was to what it is now, right? More peace, more harmony, right? More high vibration, beautiful, great. I wanted to, at that point, right, have the conversation with Deepak and ask him why, if he knows that what we focus on expands, what we think about becomes manifest, right? What we think about manifest, why then does he continue? And even me as I'm saying it, right? Like use that V word, right? Use that V word. A lot of people, so one, I like to say that a lot of the ways in which we operate, right, organizationally, relating to how we address issues in our communities, issues in society, I like to think, I would say, a lot of it comes from people in higher positions, right? People in higher authoritative positions that may not actually want to solve the problem, right? They may not actually want to solve the problems because, just like what we say about medicine, there's no money in the cure. The money is in treatment. The money is in maintenance, right? So if we can maintain a certain status quo, right? Yeah, some people are going to get out. Yeah, some people are going to get a job, and some people are going to. But if we can maintain a status quo, then we'll stay employed, right? People make money off of trauma. People make money off of other people's pain. That's real. It happens, right? I like to think, and I stand firm, if we want to create a world of peace, that is then what we need to focus on. How do we create a world of peace? Because even if, I remember former Senator Malcolm Smith, brother of mine, he was got very upset with me because I would not support his gun buyback program, right? Called me up, yo, Sugar Ray, we doing this gun buyback program. Like, you would be great. You come speak. You got the newspaper. Da 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 da. Sounded great, right? Like, this is freaking 2010, 2011. I'm home for prison 3-4 years, right? Like, opportunity, right? The senator knows me. We got each other numbers. I got opportunity to do X, Y, and C, A, B, and C, right? Again, like, this is before the newspaper. This is before the magazine cover, right? Like, could have been bigger, right? It had so much potential to go so many directions, right? Like, generate income and all of these different things. but it wasn't aligned with me because what I told him was, I said, Malcolm, right? I said, brother, even if you take all of the guns off the streets, if people are depressed, if people are still angry, right? If people are still freaking having these psychotic issues, if we're not dealing with mental health, people can hit somebody with a chair, stab them with a pencil. I told you guys a story. I stabbed somebody with a pencil in freaking second, third grade, right? Like clearly I didn't kill them, but like poison somebody, right? Push somebody in front of a bus, in front of a train, right? Choke somebody, right? Like, so taking all the guns off the street. Now, mind you, I understand that guns make it easier, right, to harm somebody from a distance, right? Guns make it easier to shoot in the crowd and shoot somebody innocent, right? So I get that. But if I really, right, at the time it was the stop the violence, right? If I really want to stop violence, then to me, again, I was already shifting. I knew that mental health was extremely important because, again, thinking about my life, thinking about times when I wanted to hurt somebody, I wanted to kill somebody who lived in my neighborhood, right? Like we're going through the same shit, right? Whether no matter how different it seems, like say, so my dad passed, your dad wasn't there. Both of us growing up without a dad, same situation, right? Both of us growing up without a dad. Both of us growing up with a mother who may not be giving her best, may not know how, may not be giving us what we need. She may be doing her best, but not giving us what we need, right? Like similar situation on the same block, right? Like that's something mental. That's a what I like to say. That's a mental freaking illness. It may not be diagnosed as a mental illness, but to want to kill your brother or your sister who looks like you, who lives where you live, who's going through the same exact shit that you're going through, they're not the enemy. And I want to kill you. That's a problem mentally. That's a function. That's a mental malfunction. If you ask me, that's a mental malfunction, right? Like I knew that, and so it was like, nah, like I can't be a part of this gun buyback program. Like especially then when I know like there's systems at play where they come into our communities, right? Like then that's when we get into the right to bear arms because the freaking government becomes tyrants, and they no, you got to be able to defend yourself in some way, right? And so like that whole argument, right? But that's what we got into, right? Going back, our communities, violence, we're speaking it. You cannot say like I vividly remember I had one train of thought where I was like, yo, we gotta stop this stuff, we gotta stop this stuff. And I would be angry. I would be so angry to the point where literally my childhood friends would be like, yo, like not not verbatim, not like real disrespectful. But they were basically like they didn't want to hang out with me no more. Cause I was yo, y'all gotta stop, right? Y'all doing this, da 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 da. I was very aggressive, right? Like you can't say stop the violence aggressively. I mean, politely, nicely. You can't. That energy. When you think about a lot of quote unquote activists who were in that movement, who are in that movement, they're angry. Mind you, right to be angry. Like fucked up shit is happening. So I'm not saying don't be angry, right? No, I'm saying like learn how to channel that anger. The brother in your neighborhood, the sister in your neighborhood who's in the streets, who's system one thinking, autopilot, survival brain, right? Their primal brain, the first freaking part of their brain that grew was the survival brain, right? Like they're just trying to survive. They're not the enemy. You do not need to yell at them and scream at them and curse at them and tell them what they're not doing, what they need to be doing. That doesn't help. That doesn't help create the world that we want to live in. It doesn't help create a culture of peace. What helps create a culture of peace is being able to say, hey, brother, hey, sister, you got a lot of potential. You know, I think you're a beautiful spirit. You have an incredible mind. You're extremely talented. If you focused on this, you put a little bit of energy into this right here, into your art, into your music, into your engineering. If you pursued that inquisitive mind, if you pursued that and let that guide you, you'll be phenomenal. A lot of the problems that you're having, that your family's having, the people that you love are having will cease to exist if you followed that and pursued that. Remain open-hearted, my brother, my sister. That you can say with a smile, live in peace, live in harmony. You can say that with a smile. You can say that with a smile. You can't say the other shit with a smile. You say that it's just it's an aggressive, negative energy. All right. So when I think about again, the challenges in my life, manifestation of my thoughts. The beautiful thing, though, is that if you think yourself into the problems, you can do what? Think yourself into the solutions. Think yourself out of the problems. So the same way we got where we are, if it's a place that we don't like, right, is by our thoughts. The opposite is true. You can get to a place that you do like, to a place that you do want because of your thoughts. All of the freaking ancient and current world teachers teach the same exact thing, right? From Bob Proctor to Jim Rohn to Eric Thomas to Les Brown, your mindset. What is your mindset, right? What is your mindset? We as a society, right? We, even more so as Black people, have been conditioned into a learned helplessness, right? We've been conditioned into staying stuck on autopilot, right? Where, oh, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. I ain't really got no control over that. Let them fix it. Let the government, let this person. No, listen, take control of your mind. Your personal life, right? You have full control over. Your community, even though you may not have full control over your community, you have some control because you are an individual who is part of your community. And if you want your community to be more positive, think more positively, act more positively, and positively impact the lives of those around you. Queensbridge is a much better place today, right? Yes, in some ways it is gotten worse. Poverty, right? Drugs. It's not as much violence as Queensbridge as it once was. Not nearly as much violence as it once was, right? Not nearly as many shootings, not nearly as many robberies, not nearly as much violence as it once was is in Queensbridge. There's more opportunities for healthy food, right? Not so much in terms of like restaurants or things like that, stores, but Connected Chef, we're out there weekly, right? Community Building Fridays, that's still going on weekly, something I started right back in 2020. Jacob Reese is now doing healthier food options, right? With Rethink Food, right? So there are more options, and it's cooked food. It's cooked food stuff, right? With Community Building Fridays and what Jacob Reese is doing with Rethink Food, it's cooked food. It's cooked food. A lot of it is vegan, some of it is vegetarian, right? And I think even the other stuff is like kosher, right? But like, you can positively affect your community. You can positively impact the lives of those around you on a grand scale when you commit to you, and when you commit to being better. It's ripple effect, it's domino effect, right? All it takes sometimes is one person. So yes, one person doesn't change the whole world, but one person changes the whole world, right? You get it? Like, you can't change everything and everybody, right? But by you changing yourself creates a different ripple effect out into the universe. By you changing your thoughts, by you thinking more positively, by you taking control of your mind, directing your mind in the direction that you want to go forward, progressive, right? More love, more peace, more light, more joy, more harmony, right? More abundance, more health, right? Like more health, more wealth. When you put that out there, the people around you start to change. This is the thing. Either the people around you change or the people around you change. Does that make sense? The people that are around you, either they are going to physically change the people who you are currently hanging around, or the people that you hang around are going to change. You're no longer be hanging around those people who wouldn't change, who wouldn't think more positive, who don't want to be healthier. You're going to start hanging around people who think more positive, who think more about health and wealth, and right, they want to create a positive ripple effect in the world. So when you think positive, when you focus on your life, when you take control of your life, of your thoughts, of your mind, the whole world changes because your world changes. And once your world changes, you change somebody else's world, and that's how the whole world changes. It's small impact. The world did not get this way overnight. We did not get to all of this destruction. We did not get to where we are today. All the genocide, we didn't get here overnight. It's not going to transform overnight. But how it transforms is by each person taking accountability, taking ownership of their thoughts, of their mind, right? Not allowing the news media, not allowing other people to infiltrate your mind and tell you what you should be thinking and what you should be feeling, right? Because if you want to stay, if for the way the world continues to operate this way, is it keeps us in the, again, helpless, defensive, low vibrational state. Oh, it's murder everywhere. Oh, the world is so bad. Oh, And then what do you see? Murder everywhere. What's reinforced? Your belief that the world is so bad. If you want the world to be beautiful, if you want the world to be more peaceful, if you want to see more love, then you first be that. You first think that the world is beautiful. There is opportunity everywhere. We can change. We can transform. We can get healthier, right? Young people are positive. Young people are doing amazing things. Young people are beautiful and creative and talented. And they're all not in the streets, right? A lot of them are, and that's what you're going to see. How do I know? Ask me. Because that's what I see. I once thought the other way, and that's what I saw. That's what I felt. That's what I attracted into my life. And now, for the better part of the last decade, my mindset has been way more positive. And what am I seeing? Way more positive. What's in my news feed? Way more positive. So your whole life is, in all honesty, a manifestation of your thoughts. Change your thinking, you change your life. Change your thinking, you change your life. Rewire your brain, and you redesign your life. Take accountability. Remember, you are God in the flesh. Yo, I love you guys, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. That is the show for today. That is Sunday Light. Your life is a manifestation of your thoughts. I hope that you guys got something out of it. They Kill Kenny. What's going on, brother? Urban Vegan Kitchen on a check-in. I need to go to Urban Vegan Kitchen and get a freaking Cody Maverick. That is what I need. I need a Cody Maverick. I need a vegan fish sandwich. The vegan fish sandwich is so freaking good. But listen, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to get into a meditation real quick. We're going to do a short, brief meditation, 2-3 minute meditation. We're going to burn some Palo Santo. We're going to get into it. Thank you, guys. Hope that message was helpful. I hope that you got something from that message. All right. As we burn this Palo Santo, allow this beautiful smell, allow these beautiful flames to flicker and the smell to permeate the space. Love the smell of Palo Santo. Right. If you are laying down, just get in a comfortable position. If you are sitting, allow your feet to plant firmly on the floor beneath you. Allow your back to be straightened by the chair, by the couch, by the wall behind you. Allow your arms to rest gently in your lap or by your side. Allow your head to lean forward so that your chin is in your chest. And allow your eyes to close ever so softly. And simply become aware of your breath. Become aware of your breathing. And direct the attention to your mind. Becoming aware of all of the mind stuff, all of the thoughts, the hopes, the dreams, the fears of tomorrow, the memories and the regrets of yesterday, the joys and the pains of today. As your thoughts come, as your thoughts arise, you can observe them. You can watch them like a movie or your favorite show. You can smile with them. You can laugh with them. You can even cry with them. But do not hold them. Allow your thoughts to be free as a butterfly. Allow them to come and allow them to go. As you journey through this day and through this week, may you keep that mantra. Repeat to yourself as needed. My thoughts are free as a butterfly. I allow them to come and I allow them to go. You are in control of your mind. And your mind is your gateway to the rest of the world. Control your mind, control your tongue, control your action, control your life. You have more control than you think. Embrace it. Trust yourself. Do not be easily swayed. Know that you are loved. Know that you are cherished. Know that you are sacred and you are adored. You're stronger than you think. You are more powerful than you know. And you are greater than you can ever imagine. I love you. I love you. I love you. Wiggle your toes. Move your fingers. Slowly begin to open your eyes. Give yourself a neck roll. Come back to the space. Share. District of Queens, what's going on, family? Thanks for tuning in. Listen, guys, thank you so much. Mona Love, thank you. I'm 8168 on YouTube. Thank you, brother Sefu and Kofa. Thank you to everyone else who's tuned in. Thank you. Listen, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Hope that you have a beautiful Sunday. Hope that you have a beautiful week. Please do join us next week, same time, same place, Sunday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and of course, Instagram Live. And join us throughout the week for SR Daily. SR Daily is at 9 a.m., 9 a.m. to 9:30. Same exact channels. Love you guys. I appreciate you guys. May your Sunday be light. Peace.